Hello. Oh, wait, my voice is so scratchy. What?
It just was so funny. It was like,
Take two, everybody.
I think that should be the opening.
Hello, lovers of lore, and welcome back.
We have returned.
We have returned.
Here we are again.
It is time for episode 7.
Yeah. What is
Episode
it? This
7.
way?
It's this, right?
But
This. I'll do both, just for good measure. My microphone's falling down already. It is time for episode 7. It is called The Boy Savior.
it is.
Who is the boy? What is he saving? I guess we'll find out.
Be about
There's quite a few boys.
a beloved character. I'm sure we all love this character very much.
Yeah. So we'll find out who the boy is. We'll find out who they're saving. Ari, do you have some stuff you want to share with us about episode 7?
I do. So yes, this episode is called The Boy Savior. I think if you were watching this for the first time and you thought about all the characters that have resurfaced and the one that is kind of remaining to be revealed, you would probably know. Because I think in my head I was like, okay, surely Little man.
Yeah.
Little man is now going to Little man is now going to be Big man.
Big Echo.
Big Echo. So the opening is with the firelights. There's like this really cool, it's kind of like graffiti, spray paint style animation that we haven't really seen before.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's very much like the firelights vibe of like,
oh yeah,
I don't even know if we could go as far to say they're like vigilantes, but that's like kind of the vibe. Because they are like the actual good people.
Well, that's the vibe coming across from the lyrics of the song. I don't know if you were going to go into because the lyrics of the song are all about, you know, like
the Misfit Toys song.
The people around here are doing well because we are helping them, not because, you know, the people who should be helping them are helping them. Is kind of the message of the song.
Yes, exactly. It's like, well, literally it says like, don't play with the misfits. Like I warned you basically, because now we're going to come for you.
Under our protection.
Yeah. We're taking care of the misfits now. But yeah, I mean, each soundtrack, like season 1 and season 2, just both have incredible soundtracks. I mean, I can't remember the last time a soundtrack from a show was like on repeat this much for me.
Yeah, it makes you wonder like how much were the artists in touch with the writers or some people
I know,
just to get the song so on point with the story beats.
I should look into season 1. I know for a fact for season 2 that they wrote all the songs like for the show as much as they could. There might be like a couple songs in there that were already written, but I think they were all like demoed for the creators of the show. Yeah. And then they were like, let's move forward with certain. I know one girl for season 2, she actually wrote 2 songs for Jinx. So there was like one that was in the show, but then later the artist released the secondary song.
Is that Royal and the Serpent?
Cool. No, it was the Paint the Town Blue song.
Okay, yeah.
She wrote another one. Punky one. The punky one. The very like Jinx vibe one immediately.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this song, the Misfits song is so good. And then the Dynasties and Dystopia song later in this episode, it's just like 2 of the best songs in season 1. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite, but these are definitely like, these 2 are like up there. They're just so good. So yeah, we've never seen that before. There is this one shot where they kind of have, I think it is a dummy, but it's like an enforcer dummy that's hung up like a pinata almost.
Like a boxing bag.
Yes, that they're like beating up. And I was like, was he inspired by Vi's little punching bag thing? That he was like, we should have something that we can like practice on kind of?
Maybe, yeah.
I just had the thought that I was like, well, the only time we've seen anything like that was in Vi's little arcade.
The punching
studio.
machine.
Yeah. So then we pick back up with Vi and Caitlin. They're being held captive. They both have these. Sacks. It's basically like a sack over their head.
There's a sack over there.
Yeah.
And Caitlin is being so funny in her attempts to escape. I noticed this. She's literally doing cat cows. Did you see this?
She's like
with her like whole spine.
She doesn't know. Yeah, she's
I'm like, I guess
out of this.
You do whatever you have to do to get out, but it's just like she's like pumping it like this, and like, oh my gosh.
Maybe that was for the Kate fans. Maybe they were like, let's do some fan service
Maybe
here.
that's why I noticed it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't do that type of training for the enforcer initiations. Like, who knows? That wasn't involved. But yeah, Vi and Kate are bickering. They're kind of like going back and forth about each other's intentions in finding Jinx/Powder, because obviously Vi is still calling her Powder, but Caitlyn is referring to her as Jinx more. And they're both kind of pissed at each other because they were like being they both feel like the other one was being kind of disingenuous.
Which they were.
Yeah. So someone comes in to grab Vi, and Caitlyn is so sweet. She's like, no, don't take her. Like, where are you taking her? Like,
even though they're bickering, she's like, no, only I can bicker.
Yeah,
only I can be mean to Vi.
Y'all, they are such a couple already.
They really are bickering like a couple already.
Yes, so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So then the person that grabbed Vi takes her to the leader, who is still wearing their mask, because it's like the person is like a rat man. Ratman comes and gets Vi, but his mask is off.
Yes.
So we see who he is, but we get this extra reveal with the leader. Vi asks if he's shy or just ugly, and then we get the reveal of the little man who has now become big man, Echo. And I'm realizing in this moment, that is when we get the opening sequence, actually.
Yes, I think that's true.
It wasn't after.
Well, both of them are intro worthy.
The spray paint animation leads directly into them in like captivity, or not. I shouldn't say captivity. They've been captured.
Yeah. They're prisoner holding cell.
So Vi is like, Echo? And like instantly is like, oh my God, my buddy, my pal. Like, hey, because obviously Vi doesn't know.
Yeah, she doesn't know
this new dynamic.
What's been going down.
With like Silco's people and Echo's people. And that it's like now there's this third group that is kind of in play and versus Piltover, but now also Zahn. So it's kind of like, they're not digging how things are going in the lanes anymore, obviously, because Silco's taken over. So they're their own entity. So Echo's kind of like, I don't know if I can trust you. Like, how do I know? Because like, why were you? Yeah, how do I know if I can? Because you were with Jinx.
Are you working for Silco?
Yeah, are you working for Silco?
Because if Jinx is, why Vi could be as well in his mind.
Yeah, and I literally think Vi is like, F off. Like, she's like, there's absolutely no way.
Yeah, of course not.
But to be fair, obviously Jinx is, and him and Powder were the same age, so I'm sure that was such a shock for him that essentially the person that he was like the closest within age then was like became his enemy. Yeah. So they're just kind of going back and forth about like he's saying, because she's like, it's me, it's Vi, but he's like, yeah, but people change, and she's like, yeah, I'm learning that being back for a day, because remember Vi's only really been back for like 24 hours.
Not been long at all.
Maybe we're reaching a 48-hour mark. Like, I'm trying to think, but like,
I don't think so.
It's hard to tell because in Zahn it's so dark, so you can't really tell. Like, but then Vi ends up revealing that she's already gotten out of the handcuffs,
of course,
by going to hug Echo, because she's like, oh, you never used to stand up to me. I missed you, little man. And then she hugs him and he's like, huh, for a second. He's like, how long have you been out of those? And she's like, how long have you been whining? And then there's this really beautiful moment where he takes a second and then he hugs her back and we see like just one tear come out. Yeah. It's very sweet. And I said, like, I was like, not when we were watching the reaction, or maybe I did, but at one point I said, that was probably like the first time he got like a hug from someone in how long? Do you know what I mean?
Ratman shows his
maybe Ratman and him. They have some bro hugs. But yeah, it was just a really, really beautiful moment. I loved that. Then we move to checking on Victor. Victor is with Singe. I'm so grateful I know his name, because I literally would have been like the doctor
Dr. Burn
scientist guy. Yeah, Singe.
Evil doctor.
Thanks, Kieran. Victor's basically trying to get some insight from Singe, trying to figure out, what he thinks about what's going on with the hex tech, like why the hex tech is the hex core, why the hex core is like failing. Victor's just looking at the tank where Rio is, which like the thing with Rio just makes me so upset every time, obviously, because I love animals and because it just feels so wrong. Like it's just the ultimate cruelty. And so when I was watching it and like writing my notes, I was just like, no. Like this is so bad that you're just standing here and like, this has been normalized for you, Victor. It was like heartbreaking because I just know that's not who who Victor is, it's because he's in this like in such a state of desperation.
He's so desperate. Like he'll do anything at this. He'll do anything at this point. So
so that was really heartbreaking that it's like he is standing there, but then he just like turns away and like continues talking to Singe. So he like literally physically turns his back on Rio in the tank. And I was like, no. So the doctor ends up giving Victor Shimmer.
Like a special variant.
Yeah, it's like a not an off-brand, but like
it's
a
like
variant.
It's a variant.
To say. Yeah. And Victor is like, is this going to work on the plants? Like, will it work on plants? And the doctor immediately says, you're not here for plants. That's not why you're coming to me. I know the look of a desperate man.
Yeah, because he is a desperate man.
Yeah, he's like, you basically don't have any other options. I can tell by like the look in your eye.
Yeah.
But then he also warns him that it's going to make people hate him if he chooses this path. And Singe choosing this path is basically why he like went a separate way from Heimerdinger.
Yeah.
Because Heimerdinger, again, as we know, is very ethical when it comes to science.
Yes.
And would not have done that to Rio.
Absolutely not. No.
There's no way.
Yeah.
He would have been like, that's the last thing I'm going to do. But yeah, Victor ends up leaving with the Shimmer. Or it's implied that he leaves with the Shimmer.
Yeah.
And suddenly, we immediately cut to buff Jace getting his little workout in. I will never forget the first time that we watched this. I was like...
Yeah, he's big.
I was like, oh, they're really trying to like hammer it in. Get it?
Yeah, I do. That's a good one.
Hammer it in that he is like big and buff.
He is. He's doing some blacksmithing.
I think it's just something about his like when you see him in the costume design, you don't get that vibe. Something about this shot where he's
been pretty much. Like, it's because it's not like people in Piltover wear t-shirts. Like
no,
he's wearing a suit all the time. So we haven't. The only thing we've seen of him so far really is his back.
Yeah, but think about like
the sex scene, right?
I think it's just the way. Yeah, you saw that brief moment with his back. But think about like Vander. We wouldn't say that about. You can tell Vander is massive. No, that's true.
They've it's like intentionally hidden. His physique.
Yeah, they wanted this nice reveal of his physique. So yeah, I was like, oh my God, okay. He's just casually doing some shirtless blacksmithing, like by himself. Yeah. It's like where he goes when he needs to relieve stress.
Yeah.
It's very therapeutic for him. And the gorgeous Mel comes in and she's like, hammerwork is such a delicate art. And I was like, yeah, Mel, you're loving this. Like, I can't even blame her. She's probably like, oh yes, this is great. This is the person I've chose to be with. Yes, I've made a very good decision. And so then they start talking about the border shutdown, and he shows her Jinx's bomb, which obviously he's been told belongs to the Firelights.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoever built that knows what they're doing, which is like obviously very high praise coming
Almost
from
blew him
Jace.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's a genius. He's like, when I was trying to...
He's a genius, and he's also a hench.
A hench?
Buff.
Oh.
British for hench.
Oh yeah, I was like, I don't know
buff.
that word.
I mean, muscly.
But yeah, he is very complimentary, and he's like, I almost died. Like, it almost killed me when I was trying to take it apart. So basically, because he's found that, he's like, we have to take this threat seriously, because who knows what else these firelights could be capable of. And he really sees it as like, these people are going to hurt the people of Piltover. Like he thinks it's a big threat. Jace also reveals that he is feeling very guilty about pushing Heimerdinger out of the council.
As he should. Yes.
Yeah. I was
Jinx,
like, yeah, I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
And Mel is kind of trying to be like, no, it's fine. Like when I was cast out by my family, it was really hard for me, but I still have love for them, and Heimerdinger will still have love for you, and he will understand, like, it's your time now. And I was like, why is this is the only thing I really like disagree with Mel on, because everything else I'm like, yeah, that's fine. But why did it have to be Jace and Heimerdinger had to completely be removed? Like, just so Mel could have more control, because she
needed Heimerdinger out of the picture.
Yeah, okay.
He was always going to hinder the progress, and Jace would always listen to Heimerdinger.
And she feels like she can kind of sway Jace more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, can't he still just be on the council and not like the head? Why did he have to be forced into the retirement? Forced into retirement is just so harsh in my mind. Like, I'm just like, dude, really? So yeah, she's like, he'll understand eventually. And then Jace is like, yeah, okay, but I just need to focus on Victor right now and saving Victor. But then we find out that Victor has disappeared, and he says that he does that sometimes. So it's not out of character for Victor. Because I was like, why aren't you looking for him? He's like literally about to die. He could die in any moment. His days are numbered.
Limping around the Undercity.
Yeah. So that was
God
kind of,
knows
but
what.
I think that's why they added that line in. Because they were like, we need to make it seem like it's normal for Victor to kind of just disappear and not say anything to Jace. But then he also mentions that Caitlyn's disappeared. And I'm like, you definitely should be looking for Caitlyn.
People are just disappearing. But then again, it hasn't been that long. It's been like a day.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's one day. Okay, true.
So-
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Jace. I take that back. Jace has got a lot on his plate, as he says later. He's like, I'm dealing with a lot.
And he must have a lot on his plate to get those muscles, am I right?
Yeah.
Get that protein.
Yeah. Mel ends up taking her leave. But before she goes, she's like, we're going to get through this together. I'm here for you. And then she says, don't lose your nuts. Because at the beginning, there was like a little nut that rolled onto the not a nut you eat, like a nut and bolt.
A nut. Yeah.
Rolled onto the floor like in front of her feet when she came in. So she like gives that to him and then she leaves. Back with Savika and Silco, their business is like completely shut down apparently because of this barricade across the bridge. So Savika reveals that it's like chem barons.
Yeah.
I think that's how you, that's what they're referring to.
The evil council, essentially.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like the Undercity Council.
Yeah. She reveals that they have called a meeting. And when they're talking about the barricade, there is this moment where Silco's like, oh yeah, Marcus is like doing what I've told him to do. But Savika's like, or he like actually turned and has like flipped to work with Piltover
Which
and not
Silco
us
knows
now.
is not true.
I don't know, but he was worried that he is faltering a little bit. He knows that that's not what's going on, but I think he's aware that it is a little precarious. I don't think he's genuinely that concerned, though. Like, I think he still feels like he's got everything under control. He's okay with kind of stalling temporarily so Jinx can figure out what's going on with that. You know what I mean? Because, like, Jinx isn't trying to get into Piltover at the moment, so he doesn't really care. He's like, that's fine. Let that, whatever's going on there, just continue for right now because she's working on that. Once she's figured that out, then we can actually like try and fight against the Pilties.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
She's trying to get him to meet with the Chem Barons because it's not a request. They have like demanded that he come and see them basically in their little meeting hall. And then he says that he needs to find Jinx. And Savika's like, respectfully, I know me and Jinx don't have like a lot in common, but like I didn't always see eye to eye with my dad, so I would just let her come to you. Which honestly, like I
Good
like
advice.
seeing this moment between them because I do think Savika is probably one of the few people that Silco does listen to. Like you can tell there's a bit more to their So I think he does listen to her. We don't see he wates for Jinx to come to him. Speaking of Jinx is back in her hideaway. That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah.
Like her little hangar hideaway. It literally looks like a hangar hideaway.
A little girl cave.
Yeah. And she's injured, obviously, as we saw like from the last episode. Milo and Clagger's voices are saying really unhelpful things, and they're kind of causing her to spiral. A lot of it has to do surrounding Caitlyn specifically, that like Vi is like replacing her with Caitlyn, things like that. It's just clear she's already really affected by the fact that she saw Vi with someone else, and specifically with Caitlyn. Like she's another blue-haired girl.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah,
honestly.
it could be.
I think it's
she just is concerned that she is going to be replaced, basically. Then there's a little firelight that we see buzzing above her, and she makes a little finger gun and shoots the firelight. Speaking of firelights, we're back with Echo. He's showing Vi this incredible paradise built entirely out of this incredible tree.
It's so cool.
It's literally like the tree of life at Disney Animal Kingdom. Like that type of vibe. It's amazing. There's also like these tiny little houses that have been built like around the surrounding on the edge, not on the tree, but like around the little edge of the paradise is circular, isn't it? So just like a nice little, cute little village.
Robin Hood.
Yeah, and it's all very colorful. Yeah, it's very Robin Hood. Yeah, it's very colorful and like bright and like, you can feel like the breeze blowing through the branches of the tree. You can hear bird song.
There's hope and there's nature and there's life, which is not words you typically associate with.
No, there is life.
So,
it is like a very different vibe from Zon and from Piltover. It's like,
it feels safe.
Yeah. And it is. He like tells us that it's a place where victims have come, people that were addicts have come here is like their safe haven. And he basically just wanted to make a place where anyone that wanted to could come and
the misfits.
Yeah, the misfits. Yeah. And just find like a place of belonging and be safe and not fall into kind of the trap that a lot of people fell into with Shimmer, because Silco didn't care if people were like getting addicted to it, or, he just didn't give a shit. While he's talking, another firelight shows up as he's talking to Vi about this. And there is this moment where Vi's like, oh, I wish I could have been here to like help you with this, which is really sweet. And he's like, yeah, but like, don't think like that, because he's like, what could you do?
Yeah, you're in prison.
So they start discussing Jinx, and Vi's like, I know Powder is still in there. And Echo is really not buying it.
No.
Which it's like she works for Silco. And I mean, obviously, literally three episodes ago?
Yeah, in episode 4.
Yeah, was it 4? He just watched Jinx.
Guys.
Kill one of his friends who I think was relatively young. Like,
very young.
Yeah. So things like that, where it's like he probably felt really responsible for that. And then also, is definitely going to feel some type of way because Jinx was like his childhood friend.
And is now like enemy. Enemy number 1 almost.
Yeah. And then Echo ends up showing Vi this mural, which is basically it's like in memoriam of everyone that they've lost. And he doesn't mean that just as like people that have passed away, because Powder is up there on the mural. And he does say, he's like, honestly, we've lost more people to Silco than Enforcers, like in these last however many years.
Yeah. Which doesn't bode well for Silco's like big purpose of saving Zorn.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's murdering Zornites.
Yeah, those people are a part of Zon as well.
Yeah.
So there are some riots that are happening on the bridge. It's like a very like small riot, but it's still a riot. Because there's unrest, obviously.
Civil unrest.
From people in Zon wanting to be able to get across and like do whatever they normally do before this started happening.
Yeah, like imagine if there's an immigration check every time you needed to go to another town. It'd be crazy.
Victor's waiting to get back across because obviously Victor did not know that there was this like blockade set up. So Jace comes down personally to get him, and he kind of gives him a little telling off. Like he's like, do you have any idea how this looks for me that I like command them to do this blockade, and then like my partner is trying to come back from the Undercity? Yeah.
It's sketchy. It looks sketchy.
And then Victor's like, you ordered this? Because of course he has no idea. And then he's like, why? Why did you do this? And he's like, because the people from the Undercity, they're dangerous. And he's like, why were you there? And he's like, my friend was in the Undercity. That's what I went to see. And he's like, you didn't tell me that was where he was. And then Victor's like, why are you so upset about this? I am from the Undercity. Why are you freaking out about this? Because he's just going on and on about how dangerous they are. And Victor's like, I am those people. I'm one of those people that you're like talking shit about right now. So then that's when Jace is like, oh, I'm sorry. I've got a lot on my plate right now.
This is a lot in this episode.
Yeah. He's like, I've got a lot I'm dealing with right now. And then he's like, was your friend able to help? And Victor says, no. He says that nature is like, doesn't respond. There's a specific term. Yeah. I think he said resistant to
because the doctor
this sort of like intervention or whatever. He was like, it's not going to respond well to it.
It's something like that because that's the opposite of what the doctor said. Well, the doctor said that, but then he said we can also change our nature.
Yeah.
That was his play on words. It was like, yeah, nature's resistant to change.
Yeah.
But we can
But
change
we don't
nature.
have to.
With purple.
Yeah, we don't have to
Purple.
go with the natural way of things, which I'm like, oh God.
Which you should.
Red flag. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you should.
Purple flag.
Purple flag. Just as they turn to head back, there is like a homemade like bottle bomb. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
like a
that's what you
Molotov
call it.
cocktail.
Yeah, like thrown, and then there's just like a bunch of fire that erupts, but doesn't quite reach Jason Victor.
Yeah.
But it is just that. It's, the creators are hinting at they're getting closer and closer to like an actual confrontation happening. And then we have the shot of Jace like staring back at the people of Zaun with like frustration in his eyes, and he just doesn't trust them. Silco does go to meet with the Chem Barons. There's a tattooed yellow jacket wearing fella. That's what I want to call him. It's like, I don't know what to.
With a cool
what would you call that? He's
jaw,
got like a
lower jaw. Instead of a lower jaw,
he's like got like jaw armor almost.
Yeah.
He's the one that's kind of like getting everyone like riled up against.
He is
Silco.
the leader of the resistance.
Yeah,
the rebellion.
I don't even know if we could say the leader, because I guess we don't know. But in this situation, he's the one that is really trying to like stick
he has the most
Silco.
grievances.
Because he looks like the youngest there, which is I think maybe is the point that he's which Silco's going to get to in a second here. He's just basically the tattooed yellow jacket wearing armored jaw guy. He's just like, you've lost control over things. Like, it's clear, that like because business is down and stuff like that, they can't obviously do the things they normally could. And there are like some of the other like barons seem to be believe with this, that they're like, this is not good. The fan up above slowly stops moving. I believe Savika had closed the doors when they came in. Then Savika turns around wearing a mask and reveals that she has this like, what do you call those things?
Like a tank. Like a pressurized tank.
Pressurized tank of like gas.
Something.
Yeah. Is like leaking out, and then everyone starts coughing pretty quickly. I think someone's like, what is that? And then they just like start hacking it up. As everyone is coughing, Silco's having no problem just like continuing on. And he's like, oh, you don't recognize it. Yeah, when we were in the mines all the time, this was just what the air was like. Yeah. And I'm the reason that the air isn't like this anymore, and that we're actually able to like breathe, well, quote unquote, fresh air, and like that you have life and that we're prospering. It's all because of me. As all of these people are literally like choking out. Savika's like throwing some people like tossing masks down the table and stuff. But the guy in the yellow jacket that kind of like instigated this whole thing, Silco takes his sweet time.
This guy's like...
he's literally like pleading with him before Silco, before even giving it to him, takes a hit of it himself, and then like just like tosses it down to him.
Well, that's what they say on planes, you've got to secure your own mask before helping others.
Yeah, that's all Silco.
He paid attention to the air hosts. What can you say?
Yeah, and he has this really, Silco. Silco has this really great bit where he's like, you're all here now because of me, but you've grown fat and complacent. Too much time in the sun. I think it's funny that he says sun, because I'm like, there really isn't a lot of sun still down in the Undercity, even with it like the way it is now. The meeting ends basically with the fan coming back on, clearing out, circulating clean air back in, and then Savika opens the door and Silco's like, good chat, good meeting, and then like leaves. It's like great productive meeting.
He made his point.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's clear. Point.
Yeah.
We're back with Mel. Alora is talking to her, and she's like, yeah, Piltover does look pretty weak right now, which is not great for what we're hoping to accomplish. And I think between the two of them, it's clear that Alora is saying this to kind of like hint at something that her and Mel have had a conversation about already. And Mel responds with, Jace isn't ready. Like, it's too soon. It would be like too much if I tried to push him in that direction right now at this point in time.
Probably the weapon. Yeah, I'm realizing what it is.
Yeah, we get the reveal in like the next scene, or second?
Pretty soon.
Yeah, soon. But at this point, we don't know exactly what she's going to try and push on Jace. And then Alora gives Mel a letter with a very fancy seal on it. And we're assuming by her reaction, this is probably like her family's.
The Medardas.
Yeah, the Medarda crest, the Medarda seal.
Clan. Yeah.
Then from there, we rejoin Kate, still with a sack over her head.
Poor old Kate, still got the sack on, still doing her cat cow.
Yes, still doing her cat. She's trying. She's trying to do all she can.
She might as well get a good stretch in.
One of the Firelight children comes in and offers like a bowl of water, which Kate, it was very sweet. And we know now they are actually genuinely trying to give her water, but Kate doesn't know this. So she like knocks it out to the side and she's like, where are you keeping her? You need to let her go. Like it's my fault that she was here.
Yeah.
Kate is just so sweet. She just is trying to protect Vi already. Yeah, where's Vi?
Where's my bye?
Oh, my Where's my Vi?
My bye.
People are gonna come for us. Just so you guys know, we don't think Vi is actually Vi. It's just
rhymes,
a joke.
So it's funny.
We know she is very much lesbian. She slaps the water out of this kid's hand. Then Echo is seen sitting there in the doorway. He's like, go get out of here to the kid. Not in a mean way, but just like, it's not worth it. Just like, go back to your playing whatever you were doing. And then Vi appears and she's like, oh, my hero. Which I was like, Vi, that must have meant something to you though. Because she is like trying to, if you were in trouble, she would have been trying to save you. And so then, Caitlin's like, what the hell? I thought they were like hurting you or torturing you or something.
It would be annoying to have been tied up the whole time.
Yeah.
And then find out that Vi and Echo were friends.
Yeah. Or like, okay.
It's kind of mean to just leave her there the whole time.
Yeah. And so then Echo says, Vi tells me I can trust you. So I'm going to give you like a lift back up topside, but that's it. That's all you're getting.
Yeah.
We find Silco sitting in his office about to do his little eye injection. Jinx drops down onto his lap from the ceiling, like from behind, like she always does. I think she just comes out from behind his chair because he's got that really tall chair that he sits in.
That would hurt. Like
what? Oh, dropping down.
Yeah. Someone dropping into your lap like that would not feel great. But
then Jinx basically just starts stabbing him all over his face with the little injector thing. And also just being like, oh yeah, I've been chasing some dead ends that weren't really dead. He's like, I can explain. I did not know, which obviously we know is true. He's like, Marcus did not tell me that he put her there. But then Jinx does call him out because she's like, but you knew that she came back and you didn't say anything. You like hid it from me. And that is true. He tries to play it off like he didn't tell her because he wanted to protect her. And then he says, she's not there for Jinx. She isn't Vi. Vi's only there to get the gemstone. Which, of course...
Not true.
No, but that's also what Savika said.
Yes.
So it's like...
Yeah, and these are people she kind of trusts a little bit.
Yeah,
so... Gaslight, gatekeep.
Guy boss, girl boss. Yeah. He's like, I was the one that looked after you. I was the one that took you in. I'm your family. Everyone betrays us. Remember, everyone betrays us. I need you. But then I was like, all of that, I understand he is trying to... to be clear, I think Silco really does care about Jinx like his own daughter. I just think what he wants for her isn't necessarily what Jinx would pick for herself. And so that's where I'm like, I don't... And he's just not an ethical person in like a lot of his decisions. And then he says the bit about, I need you to finish the weapon. So I was like, okay, you said all that stuff about like how you're family and stuff, but then you were like, I need you to do this like job for me. And I was like, ick, that's what you want to end on?
Yeah, because she's, she's a weapon. She's a means to an end for him.
Yeah, but like, I do think he sees her more, or he sees her as more than that, but it just is like, it's just kind of weird that that's what he ended on. I understand that is like...
Yeah.
That's his thing, though, that his whole, like, lifelong dream is to find a way to defend the people of Zaun with, like, a weapon, or Shimmer is, like, the closest he's gotten. But if he could make weapons to physically defend themselves against Piltover, that's what he wants.
So I don't think he doesn't want to save the people of Zorn. He wants to be the person who saves the people.
Right.
Of Zorn.
Yes. He wants to be in control.
Yes. Because if he really wanted to save the people of Zorn, he would not be doing the things he's doing now.
Yeah. He wants to be the dictator of Zorn, basically. Yeah.
But even if he doesn't want to be a dictator necessarily, I'm saying like he is obsessed with this idea of being the savior of Zorn. Like this idea of Zorn to the point where the actual people of the place he wants to become Zorn are suffering.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
But he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
Because all he's thinking about is his own idea of what Zorn should be.
Exactly. So now that Caitlin doesn't have a sack over her head, she's getting to explore the beautiful Firelight's paradise with the tree. And she is just like in awe of it. She's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful here. And Echo says, if your people had their way, it would be rubble. Like it would just be destroyed. Caitlin says it's a misunderstanding because she thinks they assume he is working for Silco, but he's like, no, your people hunt us like animals because Silco pays them to do it. Like, and
that
so
is the way around.
Yeah. And so then like Caitlin's like, no, you're wrong. That's not true. And Echo's like, say that again.
Yeah.
Say that again. Because Echo is right.
That would
like,
make your blood boil.
Yeah.
Hearing someone say that.
But this is where Vi says, Echo, she's saying that because she believes that is true. Like
she's
she believes that
she
doesn't know that this is the reality of the situation. And I think it is the way that Caitlin responds later in the scene, like, is important because she does understand, I think, when she gets a better idea of what is going on and how the Firelights have been wronged, that she does end up saying, like, you know what, if you did like want to keep this gemstone and stuff, like I couldn't even blame you because you're right. Yeah. It's wrong what's happened to you and your people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Vi is trying to kind of, get between them. And she's like, she's not your enemy, Echo. And so then he's like, oh yeah, well then what's this thing? And he like busts out the gemstone and this really cool little compartment thing that he has. That was so cool.
Why does he have that? Like, what is that for? Like, it's so cool.
Maybe one of his inventions.
Yeah. Or he invented it.
Yeah.
Somehow quickly invented it. Like it's so interesting. Yeah. Like, what is that? Is that
like an anti-gravity type of...
It's something like some kind of containment field thing. And it's just like, well, how does he have that works with this gemstone? What is it for? I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah. I'm really curious. Someone tell me.
But yeah, Vi has no idea what it is. She's like, what is it? What is that? Because everyone's talking about this. And she's like, I don't even know what it is.
I don't know what it is. I just got here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. She's like, I've literally been out for 24 hours, guys. When Caitlin sees this, she's like, you have to let me take that back. And then she explains there was this attack that happened and it was stolen during that attack. And it was Jinx that stole it. So now she's like, Jinx stole it during the attack. And then Vi's like, oh, cool. You just like conveniently forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Which, fair. And then Kate explains if someone got a hold of this, then they could essentially build any hex-tech device. So she's like, that's why I need to take it back. And also, this is why the enforcers are probably being more aggressive now.
This is why it's bad right now.
Yeah. Echo is realizing, though, if he keeps this, it might be a way for him to beat Silco. Mm-hmm. So he's like, but this could be our way of kind of like, being able to fight back. Yeah. And Caitlin is like, that's not going to solve things, though. It'll just like continue the violence. And he makes a great point that he's like, yeah, that's easy for you to say because like, you're not worried about your people getting like killed or dying every freaking day. And then this is where there is this really lovely moment from Caitlin. And she's like, it's wrong what's been done to you. Like, I wouldn't blame you for wanting to keep it. But if you do, then the violence will never stop. And like, this is their best chance at helping Piltover / Zon and the Firelight's little commune, like helping them all heal. Because Caitlin's like, I didn't realize how much we needed to heal, but it's so clear. Like our city needs to heal. And then she says, like, please let me help you.
Caitlin's the best.
He's like, do you have a plan? And she says, yes, I can take this to my friend that is on the council, which we know, of course, is Jace. And she's like, he will definitely be able to help and your people won't have to hide anymore. Because she's like, I know Jace won't want this to be happening, which I think is true. I think that Jace would be like, what the hell?
Jace would be open to learning something new.
Yeah. Speaking of Jace, we're back with Jace, and he's showing Victor and Mel Jinx's bomb, which again, he thinks is a Firelight's bomb. Then Mel pushes them to build weapons like pretty quickly. She's like, it might come to it. That it might come to the point where we will have to defend ourselves.
Yeah,
and it would be better if we're ready.
Yeah, it's an arms race. It's like a nuclear deterrent situation. Yeah. Like, we don't want to build nuclear bombs, but if Russia have nuclear bombs and we don't, then they're going to nuke us. So we have to have nuclear bombs. And that's just the kind of thinking that ends up with everyone having nukes and the Cold War happens. And no, it's bad. It's bad. We shouldn't do it.
When Mel brings up this idea of making weapons, Victor is immediately like, absolutely not. That is not why we built Hextech. Yes. And Mel's trying to argue because it's like the peace has already been broken, that she's like, it's just you preparing. Like, you want to be able to protect your people, and hopefully you'll never actually have to use them. But like, it's just better to be prepared.
No.
And then she also is like, it's your decision. And I'm like, is Victor not in the freaking room?
Yeah,
like, I just am like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's literally like Victor is not even there.
Doesn't
like,
matter
it
what
just
he
makes
thinks,
me
doesn't matter
so
what he cares
mad.
about, doesn't matter how vital he was in Hextech becoming what it was today. Because without him, it wouldn't have.
Which obviously we know Jace doesn't feel that way about Victor. Like, he very much cares about Victor's opinion and stuff, but it just is so... It's just so wild to me that everyone just like talks to Jace as if Victor is invisible. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Apart from Heimerdinger.
Yeah. Then Jace and Victor are kind of going back and forth because Jace is like, well, what if she's right? Like, what if it does come to that? Like, don't we want to be ready to protect the people? Because obviously we saw that moment where he's looking back at the people of Zon who just like threw the homemade bomb and stuff like that. So he's like, I think is getting a little concerned. Jace says, well, we might not have a choice, right as Jinx's little like bomb is about to go off, or like it's like ticking, like counting
Victor's
down.
chosen this moment to try and defuse it for some reason.
But thankfully, Victor cuts the right wire.
Yeah.
And then wire. Yeah. And then he's like, there's always a choice. And I'm like, yeah, I agree with you right now, Victor, but like, you're also doing things right now that I'm like,
well, I think
why?
It's intentionally ironic.
Yeah, exactly.
That he's drawing such a hard line in the sand
with
for this thing.
Yeah.
But then when it's his life on the line, he's stopping.
Like, I'm willing to risk it all. Yeah.
To do it. I guess because it's his life, so he can do what he wants with it, I suppose.
Yeah.
But
and then the scene ends with Jace just saying like he needs to think, and he leaves Victor alone.
I've just got a lot on my plate. Right?
Yeah, I got it. I've just got so much going on.
Gotta go hammer some stuff. I gotta go do some lat pull downs with this thing. We're
back with Echo and Kate and Vi. He is leading them back up topside. They there's like something they roll out of the way where they have this like secret passageway. That's kind of cool.
Oh, it's cool.
And then we see a little cloaked figure sail out in a boat. Could that be? A boat. Victor is about to inject the shimmer into himself. Jace is at home in his family home, like his mother's home, looking in a book, and the photo that he's looking at is the vision that we've seen Heimerdinger have. So whatever was like the destruction. In the middle of the whatever. It's the similar pathways that we saw, but like fire, destruction, like that type of thing, rather than
just like a devastation of the city through.
Yes.
Through magic.
Yeah. We also see a ton of firelights floating up. And we learn...
The insects.
Yeah, this is when we learn they're called firelights. Because Caitlin's like, what are they? And Vi's like, we call them firelights, but I've never seen this many in one place. Jinx is waiting up top on the bridge. She loves to get a bird's eye view. Maybe that's another connection to the raven.
Because she's a raven.
And then Jace's mom ends up coming in to, I'm guessing it's like his bedroom. And he gives her a hug right away. And he's like, oh man, I'm really worried I'm going to have to do something like I never wanted to do. And I was like, oh, that's cute. He like went to his mom for some comfort. Victor then injects the shimmer into his leg, and there is a very intense reaction where it's almost like the hex core like tries to like yank him into it.
It senses it. It's like, oh yes.
Yeah, it's
Fresh
not good.
meat.
And then it looks very painful as well. It just like he is not having a good time. He's like, oh God, why did I do this? And then we get more of those pathways forming.
Yeah,
but
the DNA
now,
stuff, and it's all purpley now.
Yes, and it's all the blue and the purple have merged, and the purple is learning from the blue.
It reminds me of how in Wolverine, in the Wolverine mythos, how what Logan can survive the adamantium thing because he has the healing factor. That's the only reason, because they tried it with other people, but they all died because the adamantium just killed him. But he could survive. Like now, Victor can survive this horrible transformation because of Shimmer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is something about the Hex tech and Shimmer coming together, though, that is exactly that thing of going against nature. That it's like they should have never been combined.
Hex tech already is going against nature in that it's magic, something that shouldn't be controlled.
Yeah. But Hex tech
controlled.
was like the ethical
and
version
it was
in the beginning.
Very tightly controlled.
Yes.
Lots of research done into every single thing. Very specific things everything was for, and it was fine.
Yeah.
But
then the Shimmer got mixed in with
and
it.
The Shimmer, and then the hex core, and the people, and the learning, and the...
Yeah. Not a good combination.
No.
So on the bridge, Echo is about to lead Kate and Vi across, but Vi stops because she just cannot leave Powder again. She's like, I can't do it. So she hugs Echo and Kate, and we get one more cupcake. She's like, take care of yourself, cupcake. Powder, Jinx. Yeah. Jinx unfortunately sees her hugging Kate, and then like Milo is in her head again, and we see the physical representation of Milo's like ghost haunting her is so good.
That's scary.
She's like, it's just a goodbye hug. That's all it is.
Which it is.
Yeah. And also, you were watching, weren't you? Did you not just hear what she said? That she had, like, I was like, why is she only seeing this part if she's up there? I was like annoyed because she literally just said she was going to look for you, Powder.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's like, it's just a goodbye hug. Echo and Caitlin are then blinded by the lights of the enforcers on the other side of the barricade. And Caitlin shows her badge and she's like, I have proof of what's going on. We hear Marcus's voice and he says, show me, and starts to walk up to Caitlin. So we, of course, know this is not good.
Not the guy you want.
And Echo is hesitant, and we understand why Echo is hesitant
he doesn't trust enforcers.
Echo
because
is
he knows
right.
They're corrupt.
Echo knows, so Echo is correct. This is really where Caitlin...
Yeah, she messes up, but she doesn't know.
She doesn't know she messes up.
She's too naive and pure.
Yeah, exactly. She had no idea that her own team was doing shit like this. So Echo is hesitant at first, but he does reveal the gemstone to Marcus. Jinx sees this from up above on the bridge and is definitely pissed. Then Marcus just shoots Echo, no questions asked, then aims his gun at Kate. Like, again, no questions asked.
Irredeemable.
Vi has heard the gunfire, so she's running back, and we hear her like yell Caitlin, so she's trying to help Kate and Echo. And then Jinx sees this, and there's this great moment where the ghostly shadow of Milo is like looming from behind her, and it gets bigger and bigger because she is like feeling like, oh, I'm being replaced by this girl, and she's like kind of starting to spiral internally. Marcus says quietly to Caitlin, I told you to leave this alone. And we get this shot of Caitlin's face being like,
she's realizing,
oh my God, everything that they said is right about you. Then the firelights, all those little firelights that we saw earlier, swarm around Marcus, Kate, and the other enforcers. We do see that even though Marcus is like going to shoot Caitlin, he's struggling to actually do it.
He doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it. He feels
didn't
conflicted.
care about shooting Echo.
Yeah, apparently not.
Not a care in the world about that.
No, but he has some type of connection to Caitlin.
Yeah.
But the firelights that have surrounded them, they are actually mechanical butterflies, like those butterflies that we saw in the Progress Day episode. Yeah. How did she make so many? We were like, how She's been busy in
She
these last
made a lot.
24 hours. Maybe she was keeping them for something special, maybe. Like she's had them for a while.
Maybe.
I was like,
She's
maybe
just
they've been
working
around.
on them. Maybe that's how she she goes to bed every night. She just makes one.
One she's making one per day for like months.
Yeah.
All the fireworks explode. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Fireworks.
I love it.
All the enforcers are either like killed instantly or have like
they get blown.
They've been mortally wounded. Echo is not dead. We see that there was like the bullet what did you say, bounced off, I guess? Ricocheted off.
Yeah, his like armor.
Yeah, he's got an armored plate.
Smart.
Neither is Caitlin. Caitlin is also alive,
yes.
but her leg is like very injured, so she can't like get up very well by herself. Jinx walks around the bridge or walks across the bridge, humming the same song that Little Powder was singing in the first episode. I was like, was she humming? No, she was singing.
Yeah,
and Powder is now humming it. I don't think I couldn't make out any exact words.
No,
I think it was just humming.
I can't remember the words, but it's the same song.
Yeah, it's definitely the same song. But yeah, I think she's just humming it. And then this time, she is the one that shoots. She shoots an enforcer that hadn't quite died yet. When Caitlin comes to, Marcus says, "Tell my daughter," but then he doesn't finish the sentence because he dies. Then Jinx picks up this container, that cool container that Echo had the gemstone in, with the gemstone in it, and sees Vi with Kate, because Vi is like helping Kate, obviously, since she's injured. And then she's kind of, because she's already been spiraling by like hearing Milo's voice saying these very unkind things in her head and stuff like that, she looks at Caitlin, and Caitlin's expression like morphs.
I love this bit.
Yeah, morphs
this, like,
into
devil
this
smile.
Like, yeah, and like maliciously, like laughing at Jinx. Yeah. And then Jinx just, her little Gatling gun, she just unleashes it
which
again.
She probably built, I realized now watching this. She just lets loose on him. On Vi.
On Vi and Kate both.
Yeah.
So Vi pushes Kate, and then they like separate. So they go to either side of the bridge. And then out of the blinding white light, Echo comes right out of the center. It's an incredible moment. It's so great.
It's just so cool.
It's so good.
He's on his hoverboard.
Yeah.
And it's just 10 out of 10.
And he knocks the Gatling gun out, then comes back around, grabs the container.
Yep. Gets it.
Yeah.
He's just the man.
I know. Echo,
so cool.
Yeah, I know. Echo is like, especially with like this next bit we're going to get into.
What is it about a hoverboard that is just like, it elevates the coolness? And it's funny because it doesn't always happen like that. In Back to the Future, maybe at the time, but the hoverboards in Back to the Future are a bit.
Well, these hoverboards are like,
now,
no, these are
ones
like super, super cool.
So good. And the way, like, when you stop, like, you keep the momentum and it goes up. Like, it's almost, I guess it's because it almost looks like they're surfing.
No, it does have that vibe.
It has that cool vibe. So, sorry, carry on.
No, it's fine. Echo tells Kate and Vi to go. He's like, get out of here. There is a moment where Vi looks back at, to her Powder. Yeah. And she does have tears in her eyes when she turns away to try and get Kate to safety. It is a very touching moment. Because she does end up leaving her again. And that was one thing I forgot to say. When Jinx is talking to Milo's voice in her head, one of the things that she says is like, she wouldn't do that again. So he must have said like, she's going to leave you again or something like that. And she's like, no, she wouldn't do that again.
Well, she wasn't going to, but then you shot at her.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
exactly.
You can't blame her for leaving you now because you literally shot your gun at her.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously she's not thinking that rationally. Yeah. So.
And I couldn't tell in this moment if Jinx is glaring at Vi and Caitlin. I think she is. I think there is at least one of the shots we see of Jinx is her just like glaring at Kate and Vi as they walk away. And then she kind of like redirects her focus to Echo. Mm-hmm. And then she says, well, if it isn't the boy savior. And I was like, is she the one that like made up this name for him because he like she saw it as like some obnoxious thing that he was doing to like
maybe
try
she
and
was
help
jealous.
people.
Maybe on some level she was,
Or they're like Silco's
sad.
planted this thing that
Yeah.
he's like he's just trying to take people away from
yeah,
our city, or you know, something
obviously
like
what
that.
Echo's doing is so objectively a good thing.
Yes,
Like
there's nothing negative
to paint
about
it as bad in Jinx's
Yeah.
brain must be Silco's doing.
Yeah, you would have. It's like
Must be.
yeah, she's
like-
brainwashed in that way. I think about Echo
Yeah.
because of him, because they're just there's
And he would
nothing bad
I
about
guess
what
that-
Echo's doing.
That must have been something that must have happened early on because obviously Powder and Echo were friends.
Yeah.
So how did that relationship devolve to this point?
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have just been an immediately Powder is now Jinx and Echo's the boy savior. Like it must have happened.
Yeah,
at the
he
time.
would have like
Powder
seen
and Echo
Powder.
must have
Yeah.
seen. Yeah. So I'd be so interested to know what the writers think,
Yeah.
how that relationship,
Yeah. I know because some people have said certain like behind the scenes comment or behind the scenes content that we should watch, and I wonder if those types of things end up getting discussed.
because that's a big question I have. Is
Yeah, I hope that they kind of talk
Yeah.
about that stuff because it would be so
yeah,
interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, after she calls him the boy savior, Echo has like a little chuckle to himself. And then he brings out his pocket watch and he starts swinging it. And by her response, it's clear that there is this understanding between them of what this
Yeah.
symbolizes or signifies is about to happen. And then we get Denzel Curry's Dynasties in Dystopia. And the song is so good just on its own, but in this context, it is like incredible because we get more of the spray paint, graffiti style
Yeah.
animation.
Yeah.
We've got Echo with the firelight. We've got Jinx with the raven, literally the representation of life and the representation of death going head to head.
Yes.
And while this is happening, we're seeing these flashback animation bits of them as kids playing this as a game
This same
with like paint. And it was like, it's just so heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah.
But then it like incredible to watch visually. It's like
So good,
understanding
yeah.
like the characters and seeing like how unfortunately that they're on opposite sides of this.
What they've become.
Yeah. Like they're like enemies now when they were just like two kids happily playing in the street all those years ago. But yeah, it's really cool. You see the moment where like in the past, Jinx won and Jinx got Echo.
Yeah.
But that moment allowed him to learn what she kind of tends to do.
Yes.
So in
predict
this
her shots.
Yes, in this actual like confrontation where his life is actually on the line, he is able to dodge her bullets, and he takes her down pretty easily.
He gives her a
like
good old
knocks the shit out of her.
Like he's got a wrench or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like down for the count pretty quickly.
Yes.
But then he does have an opportunity to take her out.
He does, and he doesn't.
And he hesitates because when he looks at her, when we were watching it, when I was taking notes, I said, like, I was like, I think because he does see Powder, because Vi is obviously trying to convince him that Powder is still in there. And I think for that moment, he's like, are you still in there?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't obviously, he still clearly has like some type of emotion
Yeah, I mean the fact
towards
that they
his
just
old
played
friend.
the game that they played before must be involved in his thinking at some point in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just look at each other for a moment, and either he's conflicted or he is being, she's reminding him of the Powder that he used to know in this moment. And then she releases like handheld bomb or grenade.
Another grenade.
A handheld grenade. And he sees that grenade is about to go off any second. And it is left kind of open-ended.
What happens?
On if he gets away or not. We do know, however, that Jinx is lying there, and we get a shot of Echo's pocket watch with the glass shattered.
Oh no!
So it's kind of this idea of like, something has changed for him. I think that's something is not the same.
Yeah. Really?
And that's it.
the
That
song.
is that is episode 7, The Boy Savior.
Wow. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ari. It was a good episode.
Yeah, that I remember the first time we watched the Dynasties in Dystopia bit, and it was like, I mean, I had
up there
chills
with the
the
moments,
entire time. Yeah, I think it was my favorite part of the first season. It's incredible.
From the flare moment in the previous episode to this moment in this episode, like
oh yeah,
the endings
yeah.
are just so strong.
Yes, yeah.
So powerful
it's
from
so
like
good,
visually,
yeah.
but also in like a story
Yeah.
way. Like they're all just so good.
Yeah. I always feel like I tend to, because what are we in? We're in the third act now, technically.
Yeah.
With this episode 7,
Yeah.
8, 9. And I always feel like for some reason within the story structure, my favorite part of the story structure is always like Act 2, when Act 2 is blending into Act 3.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's when everything is like revving up.
Lots of payoffs.
It's just, it's such a great part of any story, but like of this first season that it's like, yeah, like you said, there's so many good moments.
Oh, yeah.
That are so great to get to watch again.
Okay, lovers of lore, thank you for joining us for episode 7. If you haven't already, you can see this episode reaction on our Patreon, and we will see you next week for episode 8.
See ya.
Ooh, see ya.